Good morning. We are Maria Paula Garzón, Santiago Altamiranda, and Santiago Ramirez, and we will talk about Juan Valdez and its coffee innovation. In this case, we can see several facts that mark Colombian coffee history, since Colombia coffee wasn't even recognized worldwide until being catalogued as the best premium coffee around the world. First, we start with FNAC creation, that is a federation which will promote the Colombian coffee growers. This FNAC also wanted to make a symbol of Colombian farmers, and that's when Juan Valdez figure showed up in Colombia market. This logo was a really nice strategy for Colombia coffee, and it got recognized in the American market, which is considered as the most important one. Another strategy was to label the products with 100% Colombian coffee. However, when some competition as Starbucks appeared, it created a crisis into Colombian coffee commercialization worldwide because it changed the behavior of the consumption of coffee in the United States, and also it opened a lot of stores. Therefore, Procafe Col was created in 2002 to encourage and understand the necessities of Colombian coffee in terms of branding and marketing internationally. They realized that Juan Valdez needed to have a larger portfolio, so they launched different tastes for the market. They also create flagship store giving a very American concept to the way of selling the product. They opened several shops around the world, especially in the United States and Spain.
So, talking about the emerging business model that began to threaten the Colombian coffee and also Juan Valdez, right now we can take about a soft drink. It was a drink that began consuming the younger people. It was a trend for the younger people in the U.S. market, and also it's important to say that the U.S. market is one of the most important markets for the Colombian coffee in the world. Also, the impact of the emerging brands like Starbucks and other high-end chains, the whole coffee market had changed. These great changes brought bad news for the FCN, the coffee sector in Colombia, and also the coffee farmers in Colombia became less important for the value chain of the coffee. So now talking about the strategies developed by the government and also the FCN in Colombia to mitigate the impact, the Colombian government assembled a commission with some leaders of the public and private sector in order to develop some strategies and ideas to improve the competitive situation of the coffee industry. Also, for accomplish these goals, they developed the Green Book, where a group of strategies and plans will be found. Some of the major tenets of the plan included the capitalizing of the brand Juan Valdez, and also seeking out opportunities to create uh, new value-added products in the brand. So we consider that Procafe Col should continue with the plan that they were developing before the crisis. We know that this whole crisis was really important and was a good, really big impact around the world on enterprises, on sectors, on governments, and everything. But as we can see before the crisis, the strategies were going really good in Spain and USA. But this important thing that the people and customers said about the store of Juan Valdez, they said that they didn't feel that they were consuming Colombian coffee. This was because the environment itself of the store was really unmatter, and this store didn't transmit the feelings of the Colombian coffee, of the Colombian culture. So there is important observation and counsel that the customers were saying to the store. So it's important to include this add value for the company if they want to continue in these strategy markets as USA and Spain.
Procafe Col should invest in new brewing, packaging, and other technologies because there is kind of confusion between some companies with 100 Colombian coffee that were using Juan's logo and Juan Valdez Premium Coffee. So there has to be a differentiation between the coffee even if they are both Colombian, because consumers can have different reactions. For example, a package of coffee of a different company that has the logo of Juan Valdez can cost $3 and a Juan Valdez premium coffee can cost $7, so that the client must be confused by if what's the real Colombian coffee and what's worth it. I will close the flagship stores because cafes had exhibited very different consumer behaviors, and Americans have a very different experience. When they went to the cafes, they expect to see more about Colombian growers and not a modern place. Furthermore, Juan Valdez flagship stores in Times Square was spending too much cash. The cost of having flagship stores is too high and is difficult to cover, and FNAC also agreed with this comment.
Juan Valdez's motivation for expansion was mainly due to two factors. The first one, the quality and recognition of Colombian coffee in international markets. The second one, the need to add value to the primary product. To begin with, in the first half of the 20th century, Colombia had a coffee boom that affected the economy in a positive way. At the world level, Colombian coffee was positioned as the best coffee in the world, marketing the product with the slogan of 100% Café de Colombia and charging the quality to premium. By 1950, the good represented the 27% of GDP and the 80% of the country's total exports. For this reason, national coffee has been placed in the international market for more than 5 decades, with strong brand power. For these reasons, for Juan Valdez, it was attractive to go international due to its superior quality, the current great global demand for coffee, and the new trends, both in specialty stores and the good and its retail sale in premium formats. The internationalization potentially represented higher sales, which would translate into greater prosperity for the coffee sector. This sector has been lagging behind due to factors such as lower prices and increasing competition. Therefore, the National Federation of Coffee Growers found it necessary to find economic activities that would give added value to the product. In this way, the FNC decided to start roasting coffee, encourage the production of gourmet coffee, establish alliances with important players in the food industry in other countries, establish customer stores, and among others. Juan Valdez, after 8 years of operation, decided to carry out internationalization through franchises in order to reach other parts of the world in a structured and orderly manner after the failures they had in venturing with their own stores. The consolidation of the franchises was a success because it allowed the brand to reach other parts, accompanied by a qualification matrix and rigorous selection of franchises. The matrix was a fundamental tool since it generates the parameters and important aspects that must be considered to reach another market. Among these were the cultural proximity, per capita consumption, among others.